How we think, you see, is central in determining what we do and how well we do it. American author Napoleon Hill, an advisor to FDR, said, "First comes thought, then organization of that thought into ideas and plans, then transformation of those plans into reality. The beginning, as you will observe, is your imagination." What I believe all of us imagine for Newfoundland and Labrador is a future in which our children and grandchildren, instead of looking back on opportunities we might have squandered, look back with gratitude on the legacy we built, a legacy of growth that is sustainable, grounded not in things that pass away, but in things that endure. Today, we are enjoying growth the like of which Newfoundland and Labrador has never seen before. The transformation we have seen over the last 8 years has been especially remarkable. Personal incomes have increased, the unemployment rate has declined, the decline in our population has reversed, and a modest increase is underway. We are now a have province within the Federation, and our fiscal health has dramatically improved. Our net debt as a percentage of GDP has decreased from 63.4% to 26.2% over these 8 short years, now equal to the Canadian average. This is a remarkable change. Indeed, our fiscal policy has been heralded by economists and rating agencies, with our credit rating now the highest it has ever been. We are in an enviable position, able to weather swings in the state of the global economy with greater resilience than ever before in our history. Our economy has never been more buoyant, yet the foundation for long-term prosperity still requires more work. The challenge is how to use our present strength to create a sustainable society. It is the most fundamental challenge we face as a government. To ensure the growth we are seeing today is not transient, but sustainable, we must chart a responsible course forward and effectively meeting the challenges honestly so they do not prevent us from achieving our goal. There are forces that will drive us right back to the era of decline that we work so hard and so effectively to leave behind. This will be a pivotal time in our province's history, and we must be vigilant to ensure we make the right choices. My pledge as Premier is that we will work diligently to ensure Newfoundland and Labrador continues to grow and prosper. This past October, our party was charged with a powerful mandate by the people of Newfoundland and Labrador to lead this province forward. Today, as we look to the year ahead of us and beyond, we face 3 significant challenges. The first is to deliver vital public services while decelerating the growth of public spending. The second is to shift from over-resilience on non-renewable energy. The third is to fully capture the opportunities on our doorstep. Our government is ready to lead the charge in addressing all 3, and I believe by working together to meet those challenges effectively, we will emerge even stronger than we are today. Prudent fiscal management is a constant balancing act, made more difficult by the volatility of oil prices. In recent years, we have benefited from rapid revenue growth. An ongoing priority has been debt reduction, and our net debt is projected to be $7.7 billion at the end of this year, down from a high of $12 billion. Now, there's not many countries in the world that could make that boast, let alone a province within the Federation. Of course, certain market forces have worked to our advantage. Markets for petroleum and metals, for example, have propelled production activity as well as prices. Look at the stunning success of the mining industry this year: $4.5 billion in production and $150 million in exploration activity. Both are all-time records. The level of exploration investments is very encouraging because it means that the mining industry will continue to be one of the long-term bright lights in our economy, balancing out some of the fluctuations in other sectors. The construction sector is another example, will continue to boom for many more years, benefiting from our government's injections of billions of dollars into public infrastructure. These unprecedented investments were particularly important during the recession, protecting us against the full force of negative economic impacts while restoring the quality of our infrastructure that had eroded over many years. In addition to significantly decreasing our debt and enhancing infrastructure, over the last 8 years, we have increased our spending on programs and services, particularly on health, education, and the protection of our children. But our growth in spending, while absolutely necessary, must now be contained. The question we all must consider is how we achieve the careful balancing act between economic growth, a high quality of life, and affordable public finances. We have let the people of the province know for some time now the string of budget surpluses of recent years would come to an end for the next 2 years. A combination of declining oil production, the refit of 2 production platforms, and an end to payments, federal payments under the Atlantic Accord, will all accumulate to bring about a temporary deficit situation. What is the best fiscal policy response in the face of this reality? Some may suggest that a balanced budget is the best goal in order to avoid taking on debt. However, this would require a dramatic reduction of spending. As a general principle, of course, we support balanced budgets. And there is no question that fiscal discipline and efficiency is necessary. Government programs and services need constant pruning in order to remain affordable. And we must be vigilant in ensuring that these programs are both effective and efficient. But in terms of an approach to fiscal management, for a province with wide swings in its revenue base, it is better to choose a longer-term debt reduction target and manage the budget over time to arrive at that goal. For example, it is our goal to improve our debt position over 10 years to achieve the same per capita debt as the Canadian average. We can get there through discipline in spending and allocation of surpluses to debt reduction, while allowing for periodic deficits. Budgets, of course, are where our minds are focused right now, and I'll be some glad when we can get to present it in the House of Assembly. And I can have just 1 day off a month. But that's the same for many other jurisdictions. In the meeting of premiers in Victoria a short time ago, our principal area of focus was healthcare funding. No area of public spending trumps healthcare in order of priority, nor does any other priority receive a comparable level of spending or rack up a comparable level of inflationary growth. Complicating the challenge is the fact that we are witnessing a massive demographic shift as the baby boom generation begins to slip into retirement years, when the demands for chronic care and long-term care are significantly increased. There is a great urgency in finding a way to meet the looming challenges in healthcare without jeopardizing our fiscal health in the process. I expressed my concern, as did other premiers, about the decision of the Government of Canada to unilaterally determine the federal government's health care contribution, which will fall significantly short of the need. Nationally, the federal government provides just 20% of health care funding, and this is expected to decline when the new funding formula is implemented. They are proposing a 6% escalator until 2017, 6% under 20%, at which time funding growth will be tied to nominal GDP. Newfoundland and Labrador receives only about 15% of our healthcare funding from the federal government presently, so on a $3 billion budget, they give us about $430 million. And the way the 6% escalator is applied to the full 20%, the full pot. So even full 6% doesn't come back to Newfoundland and Labrador. We won't get a full 6% on our 430. What also concerns me, and I voice these concerns during our meetings as well, is that a per capita approach to healthcare funding as proposed does not work for Newfoundland and Labrador, nor does it work for Atlantic Canada. It is discriminatory in that it favors provinces with higher populations and those who do not face the geographical challenges that we do. We're a coastal people spread around a big, big landmass. So while demands increase, the share of federal funding of healthcare will go down. At the same time, all premiers recognize that we have to find ways to rein in the growth of healthcare spending. Current trends are not sustainable. We have to explore opportunities for greater cooperation among provinces and more innovative approaches to healthcare delivery. To that end, the Council of the Federation has struck a working group to identify new approaches to make our healthcare dollars work harder for the benefit of Canadians in every province, including our own. I can tell you that healthcare budget occupies a good portion of my thoughts, especially as we work our way through budget preparations. As I said, it accounts for nearly $3 billion of our annual budget. We have the highest per capita expenditure on healthcare in the country. So for all the moaning and groaning we do about healthcare in this province, we spend more per capita than any other province in the country. Demands are increasing, yet we can't let our spending continue to grow at the rate that it has. I've said before that one sometimes needs the wisdom of Solomon. We have to be responsible, fiscally prudent, but practical as well. We are committed to continuing to invest strategically in our healthcare system so that it meets the needs of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, while examining ways to get more value for every health dollar we spend. These and other considerations have been in our purview as we have been at work since the election, shaping a prudent and sensible budget to manage through these next 2 years of deficits. Careful decision-making is critical, and we are mindful on the international scene, demand in the world economy is fragile, with the European debt crisis, the slow pace of the American recovery, and the periodic signs that the Chinese economic growth may be moderating.